Hello everyone, welcome to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we continue to follow the athletic programs of the Tulsa Public Schools. Good show lined up for you today. I think you'll enjoy it as we talk girls softball, we talk football, we talk athletic directorship, and then of course we'll close the show with Gil Cloud, the Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, as he brings us up to date on all the administrative moves that's going on in the field of athletics. Don't go away, we're coming right back.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education?
What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job?
Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher.
You got the skills.
The smarts? Yes, you.
You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess?
What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Thanks for being with us today on Inside Tulsa Athletics as we turn now to girls softball. And we want to welcome aboard Mark Garrett, who is the head girls softball coach at Memorial High School. And Mark, when you take a look at what's happened in fast pitch girls softball, the improvement is just unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. The technology and the improvement, the game is just changing rapidly. Offensive styles are changing rapidly. I mean, the game itself, the pitchers, every part of the game is just really changing. The game is just getting faster and faster.
You know, as I watch it, I wonder, maybe there is a rule in the making to extend the bases a little bit, maybe to expand the the pitcher's box just a little, because they throw that ball and pitch it fast.
Yeah, it's, you know, the pitching mound is set at 43 feet, but in reality, when a pitcher strides out and is at full stride and the ball comes around, she's at like 38 feet. And that's, you know, at the NCAA Division I level, you know, those girls that are throwing 67, 68 miles an hour, that's the same as 98 to 100 in baseball. I mean, the reaction time's the same. So, yeah, the game is a extremely fast-paced game.
Well, bring us up to date on the Memorial girls team, on what they're doing and what you look for in the future.
Well, you know, we lost quite a few players over the summer that moved out of the district, so we kind of had to rebuild. We've got a lot of young girls on the team, mostly freshmen. So anytime you have a lot of freshmen, you know they're going to make the freshman mistakes.
Sure.
But you know, I'm excited about it. It's the end of the season, but we're making the corner, and we're getting things going in the right direction. I'd rather, you know, end in the right direction than going backwards by the end of the season. So we're going in the right direction. Looking forward to next year, getting these girls back in here and getting them in the off season, getting them in the weight room a little bit, getting them out and doing some speed and agility work with them, getting them in the cages, working on their offensive, getting their swings down a little better. I'm excited. You know, it's been a tough season this year, losing that many starting players and having to rebuild. You know, our record doesn't show what we've really accomplished this year. So I'm excited about the future of softball at TPS.
What is the feeder program for you at Memorial High School? Do you have a feeder program?
We don't really have a feeder program. You know, junior high, there's no softball in junior high. We rely on the girls to go out and play competitive ball outside of school. So we don't really have a feeder program necessarily that has a sport that they can play that sport in junior high. But, you know, we've got some things going on right now. There's some guys that have taken some interest here lately that have called me that are putting a team together right now that's going to play as soon as softball season ends. They're going to start playing some tournaments, and that team is primarily made up of Tulsa Public Schools kids. So that's a great thing for us. There's some dads and some guys coming in and stepping up and taking some girls from Tulsa Public Schools area and putting them together and going and putting them on the field. That's great. I mean, that's going to make a big difference.
Kind of bring us up to date on what is in the future for the girls softball team, and also the tournament that is coming up very quickly to determine a state champion.
Yeah, we're just right around the corner. Next week we'll start regionals. We will probably end up either in Tahlequah or Durant is where we'll most likely draw. It's going to be, 5A is a tough program to be in. I mean, there's not a lot of difference between 5A and 6A in softball. When you're looking at the top programs, there's just really not there's just a breadth of difference. We've got a doubleheader night. We've got Tecumseh senior night. Well, we're graduating 5 seniors, which is once again going to kind of give us a little setback graduating that many seniors. But we're going to rebuild and we're going to be fine. We're looking forward to tonight with Tecumseh. They're also a program that's struggling this year. They've had some setbacks and they've lost a lot of kids. I think it's going to be a good game tonight, and I think we're going to end the season well and get in the cages and start immediately preparing for next year and see if we can improve on what we've accomplished this year.
I've become quite a fast pitch fan. I really enjoy watching the girls. They work so hard, they hustle, they back up on everything that is in the infield or outfield. They'll have a backup player where a lot of times we don't see that in baseball. The boys forget it.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun watching the girls.
I kind of always tease the boys a little bit because I'm also the assistant baseball coach at Memorial. And I always tease my boys when they get down there that, you guys would really struggle if I put you on a softball field because the game is so much faster paced than baseball. It would take you a little bit to make the adjustment of the quickness of the game. So,
well, Mark, we want to wish you the very best of luck, and maybe that you could surprise some of the teams coming up here in the district play and just really set the stage for next year.
Well, we certainly hope so. I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you coming by and look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, sir.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. We have more athletics coming up right after this.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education?
What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job?
Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher.
You got the skills.
The smarts? Yes, you.
You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess?
What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard the head football coach and athletic director at Edison High School, Tony Daniels. And Tony, always a pleasure having you aboard. And I know this year, as being the head football coach, that you've had some close ones. You've won one game, and it's been kind of frustrating in a way.
It really has. It's one of those things that you deal with adversity, and last year we dealt with it, but we didn't know how to respond.
Mm-hmm.
This year we've dealt with it. We've went behind. We've come back. We've been leading in both of our last 2 games against Glenpool and Claremore, but adversity bites us again and it comes back, and it's just trying to deal with that and then get these kids to understand how to deal with it and how to overcome it to not let that happen.
In watching you play, it looked like there were times when you have a lot of speed. I mean, if your kid gets a short pass and can get just a little open field, he's gone. Is this true?
It is true. It's we feel like our starting running back, who's just a sophomore, anytime he touches the ball is dynamic. I mean, there's a lot of times that he's already rushed for over 500 yards. He's got 7 touchdowns. I mean, anytime he can kind of take it on any given touch, And we feel the same way with our wide receiver core. I mean, they do a lot of good things. They, of course, extend those touchdowns and let Savion score by blocking downfield, and we like to try and reward those kids. So at any given time, we definitely have some special athletes that all of them come back next year, so we're definitely excited about that.
Well, take a look at East Central. You go to East Central this week, and that certainly is a game that you feel like you can win.
We do, and utmost respect for Coach Gordon. I've known him for quite a while, and got those kids over there working hard, and it's something that doesn't matter really who we play. That's kind of our mindset that we've been instilling in the kids. But it's not who we play; it's how we play. So there's some things that we're going to work on this week to try and get us prepared and ultimately get the victory on Friday.
Well, kind of give us a review of your district there, because as you look at it, gosh, there's some tough teams in there. McAllister, Coweta, Shawnee, Noble, Durant. Noble is ranked, and probably some of the others will be ranked before the end of the season.
Yeah, most definitely. McAllister, I know, has a lot of young kids that are out there playing, so they're kind of going through what they're having to go through in 0-4 right now. Coweta, watch a little bit of Coweta TV on them, and against Durant, they definitely look pretty good. Wide open passing game, do really good, and they've got a pretty good quarterback. Shawnee's definitely big and physical up front. Was able to watch them. They played East Central, so kind of have seen some film on them. And Noble is pretty good. They've come in and have done a really good job. They're obviously number 7 in district and also 4-0, so they're at the top of the list, and that's going to be definitely a good game, and it's away. They have a great atmosphere, and I've been down there before and loved it. And Durant, good thing we don't have to travel down to Durant this year. They get to travel to us. So
yeah, you have them at home.
Yes, definitely.
Well, when you take a look at your team this year, your young kids, are they developing the attitude and the desire that you want?
They are. We feel like they're developing that chip on their shoulder, and we had it somewhere along the way. We've lost it within the couple of games, but yesterday as a practice, kind of coming back in and trying to keep grinding and keep instilling in those kids. But you look at any given time, offense and defense, I mean, we've got a lot of sophomores and juniors that are over there starting.
When you take a look at the offense, of course, defense, you win the game with the defense, but yet you have to score some points. What is your offense, your quarterback, and are they younger? Are they underclassmen?
So quarterback right now is a sophomore. We have a starting sophomore running back, 2 sophomore slots, and
Wow.
2 junior outside wide receivers that all start. We lose tight end, and we lose a starting offensive lineman come next year. So we've got 9 that would return. So there are definitely a lot of perks, but it's kind of one of those things. We don't want to look towards the future. We just want to get better where we are right now.
Well, it looks to me like in watching them play that there are periods there when they are playing like a state champion, defensively and offensively, and then suddenly they have a little letdown.
Right.
Do you see that?
I do, and it's one of those things. If we can get them all to play on the same page, I've had great remarks from JJ over at Bishop Kelly, and you hear those things, and you want to believe it, but then you have some of these letdowns that we've had. But it goes back on the coaching staff, and we'll get it all fixed, and can't wait to see them all play at the same time.
Well, Tony, we want to wish you the very best of luck, and I know now that you're the athletic director at Edison High School that you have 2 jobs, but the way I know you'll get them both done well.
Thank you very much.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. More coming up right after this.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard the head football coach at Booker T. Washington High School, Brad Calip. And Brad, you have a very good team this year. You're halfway done on the season, and it's been a very, very good first half.
Yes, it has. I mean, it went by fast, and the journey has been tough, and our kids kind of weathered the storm with some tough team early in the season, and from that, I think our team has developed into a pretty good football team, so I'm pretty proud at this point.
Did you make this schedule?
No, I didn't. This is the second year. I made the one for next year, but yeah, this is our second year in this one.
You know, I think this is interesting for people to look. That here you played Edmond, Santa Fe, and Midwest City, two very good teams, and you won. And then you go to Shreveport and play a team that you lost. Then you come back and you beat Ponca City and Shawnee. I mean, to me, those first three games really set the tempo for what was going to happen.
Yeah, you know, the first two games were pretty tough, and like I said, a 6A team that beat us last year, and last year they went to semifinals, and then of course Darrell Hall there at Midwest City always have his team prepared, and they probably one of the biggest teams we faced all year, and then go to Louisiana and play a great team, West Monroe, who is almost like a Jinx or a Union there in Louisiana, and lose by 9 points by them. And you know, we catch 2 touchdown passes first half in the end zone. That could be a different game, but West Monroe at one time was up 21-7, and our kids never stopped fighting, and that's what I kind of liked about them. And they kind of made a game at the end of it, and then we got back to Oklahoma. Our kids just started playing very well.
I think it's interesting to look there to score that in both the Ponca City and Shawnee games, you score 63 points and beat Shawnee 63-21, and then you shut out Shawnee 63-0. That should give your kids just a lot of momentum.
Yes, you know, Haney, sometimes you play those type of team, you know, you've been in this business long enough, sometimes you kind of play down to the people level of play, and I'm giving those guys credit. I'm not, you know, discrediting their football program, but we were way more talented. But sometimes you can kind of play at that level, and sometimes those games can be like a barn burner. And but our kids played very well the first half, and it also allowed some other kids to play in the game. I got the opportunity to take some of my starters out of the game, and unfortunately we came out with no injuries, which is a blessing. And those type of games, you know, you get some injuries that you can't afford to have later on in your season. So far we came out, you know, healthy, free, and so I'm kind of pleased with that.
Well, you have homecoming this week as you play host to Sapulpa. Kind of give us a little scouting report on Sapulpa.
Sapulpa, very athletic. They have an athletic quarterback. Actually, it's Dave Williams' little brother who went to Louisville to play, a very athletic quarterback. They have some athletic skill guys that we have to cover those guys, and they're well coached. So we'll have to play well against those guys. Homecoming is always a distraction for any coach, and I just want our kids just to play well, and it's a district game, and our goal is to be district champion, have that game at the house. So they're going to come in, they're going to be fired up. Anytime, you know, you rank number one and you come play a ranked number one team, usually that team play their best game against you. So we're going to have to be prepared.
But being ranked number one in your district, when you take a look at Muskogee, number 6, Sand Springs, number 9, Bigsby, number 7, that looks like there has to be a state champion come out of that group.
Yes, and you know, I give credit to you know rankings really don't mean anything. Muskogee, I think they're should be ranked higher than that, and Bixby. But like I tell my kids, you know, you got to ignore the rankings until they get to like November and everybody's 0-0. But After this Friday, we have Muskogee next week. And go down there and play them, and you know how that is down there. It's a hostile environment, and we got to play them. And then we get a bye week, and then it starts again. Like you name them. I mean, we have Sand Spring, Bixby, and oh my gosh, and so that's going to be a barn burner there.
But you know, Brad, that really builds you up. If you're going to be a state champion, which you want to be, the kids want to be, playing teams like that prepares you for it.
Yes, and like I tell my kids, I mean, we just take one game at a time. Of course, you got to go through Bixby to win it. I know they're ranked number 7. I think the first year 6A2, they barely made the playoffs, and I think they were ranked number 4 in their district and ended up winning the state championship. So anything can happen. So we just take one game at a time, and that's how we're going to build a character of our team. And when we get to those teams, and I hope we play very well against them.
Well, Brad, want to wish you the very best of luck this week with Sapulpa coming to Booker T. Washington, and we'll be following the Hornets as you go on.
Well, thank you.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. We have more coming up right after this.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we continue to talk football in the Tulsa Public Schools. And we want to welcome aboard the head football coach at Central High School, Kip Shaw. And Kip, 2-2. You're fighting it out and got some big games ahead.
We are. The kids doing really good, adjusting well. We're still in the thick of things. Just got to play a little bit better and limit mistakes, and we're going to be all right.
Well, kind of talk about, you had Memorial, McLean, Star Spencer, and Tecumseh, and you finished there 2-2. Kind of tell our audience how that came about.
Memorial was a tough game. It's the first time we've got some freshmen. I've got a true freshman quarterback. Guys kind of feeling their way that game. We didn't play very good on offense, played excellent on defense, excellent. Just got to do a better job on offense. McLean, tough team, tough athletic team. We finally kind of got rolling there. Our young kids finally started making some plays. So we were able to pull that one out. Star Spencer, I think we kind of hit our groove, and the young people really played well. Score ended up 30-6, I do believe. Tecumseh was tough, and I think the biggest thing with Tecumseh is they were a great football team, but we still have to learn how to handle success. You're on a 2-game win streak. That thing's got to continue, and my players have to understand that, hey, you've got to work harder when you're winning. And so we kind of let our guard down. Tecumseh came in, had a great game plan, played awfully well. We just had to do better with our technique, tackling, taking care of the football. Can't have 5 turnovers and expect to win a football game.
Well, you're sitting there right now 2-2. And for the players that you have, this is kind of a turning point with Tuttle coming up, and then you've got a tough schedule with Bethany and Cleveland, Ada, Hara, Blanchard, and 2 of those teams are ranked in the top 10. But if your kids are beginning to come together, then they can have great success in the last half of the season.
Oh, absolutely. And we're starting to hit our stride, and they're starting to understand what we want from them as coaches and the demands of playing and working hard. Like I tell them, your games are won Monday through Thursday, and you got to get yourself going on Friday night. So as long as we keep preparing and they understand how hard it is to win and doing a better job at limiting our mistakes, then we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine.
Now look at it from a classification standpoint. Seniors, juniors, sophomore, and freshmen, how do they stand there? Do you have a young team?
We're actually pretty evenly distributed. We're going to lose 7 seniors. The good thing about it is a lot of our young kids are playing for us right now. We've got freshman quarterback, freshman center, freshman starting linebacker. I've got 2 tackles right now that are both sophomores. So we're going to be in good shape after this year. We've got a lot of young men coming back.
Those kids will grow up and develop as a result of the seniors that they're working with, won't they?
Absolutely, and that's probably the biggest thing that we haven't had in the past that we have this year is a lot of senior leadership. These guys are definitely setting the example, and what we need to do to grow as a program and kind of what's expected of the younger players.
Is your numbers at McLean as good as you wanted?
Well, our numbers
at
Central are actually better than one. At one time, we had 50 on the roster, and then you always have those couple young men that, hey, football's not for me. And right now, we're at 46 players. We've got a couple players that are injured that we hope to get back this week, and then you've got a couple players who are become eligible next week. So we'll have 46 total players after next week.
46.
46.
Now that's a good number, isn't it?
That's an absolutely good number, great number.
And when you take a look at Central High School, the feeder program coming up, is the interest there with those kids as great as you would like for it?
Oh, absolutely. Our junior high program is doing exceptionally well this year, and I encourage the coaches, and I go to every junior high football game of ours, so I can see those young kids and they can see my face, and they're doing a good job. I guess the blessing for us is our junior high program, our junior high is right inside the school, so it helps the kid, and we're able to help the junior high coaches monitor the kids' academics and push them to do well in school.
And they get an opportunity also to see you practice, to be a part of it, and as they grow up, why, they're right there with you.
Absolutely. We're on the east end of the field, and they're on the west end of the field, and so they, for at least an hour and a half, they get to see us practice every day, and you hope that they're wanting to be down there on that west end as they grow older.
Well, when you take a look at the Braves of Central High School, do you expect them really next year? What does it look like? And the next year?
I think our future is very bright as long as our kids can academically do what they're supposed to do. When we're able to keep our kids and our program keep growing in a positive way, we're going to get more and more interest there and more people that want to be a part of it.
And you talk academically, that is so important, isn't it?
It's very important. Our big thing is we want to make sure our kids are academically eligible every week. So we've got 2 days, Mondays and Thursdays, that we set aside for academic enhancement to push those young men to do well in class.
Well, Kip, we want to wish you the very best of luck at Central High School and hope to have you back here on Inside Tulsa Athletics soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. More coming up right after this.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework. I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's just gotta try a little harder.
1 in 5 children struggle with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to understood.org.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard the head football coach at Hale High School, Coach Bruce Munden. And Bruce, congratulations on breaking that long 6-year losing streak, and you've got them thinking winning.
We do. We were actually starting to play with a little bit of an edge, and it's something even my first couple of days here I knew we could do, but I wasn't sure we'd ever see it realized, because in the back of our head, that monkey on our back, that losing streak has always been there. I think this kind of catapulted us to that level that we thought we could be at. And we're starting to compete. I mean, we gave Claremore everything they wanted on Friday night, and it's a top-ranked team. So it allows us to do a little bit more, because we do realize that we can win a game.
Well, that was a big win, and of course, for those of you who are not aware, that was Oklahoma City Northwest, and Hale wins it 14-12. And as we were talking before we came on the air, the kids are playing good for a half, and then they kind of drift off a little bit.
We're tired is more of it. Our numbers still aren't where we want them to be for a 5A program. We're sitting probably about 35 right now. We've lost about 15 since the beginning of school because we don't want to put in quite that much effort, but the kids we have are working their butts off daily. And our conditioning is getting better daily. It's just taking us a little bit to get to that point, and we do. We play a great first half. It's learning to come out in that second half and not give in to being tired.
But Bruce, I think a lot of that I have experienced, and I've been with people who have had long losing streaks, and it seems like that down deep in the heart of the kids that they get into the second half and think, oh, we're going to lose. But you eventually can get over that, and especially when the majority of your kids are underclassmen.
They
so
are.
You're going to have them, and they're going to start believing.
Yes, that's a great thing we can say. We only have 6 seniors, so we bring almost everything back next year. We do have to replace a couple of key pieces, starting quarterback, a left tackle, but for the most part, we bring back everybody. So we have that opportunity, and when we start talking about losing games late in the game, I think Northwest Classing kind of got us over that hump a little bit too. 14-12 final score, but we had to protect the lead the entire second half. Mm-hmm. We actually had a goal line stand to prevent them from taking the lead. And I think that little spark that we had, I mean, you could hear our kids, don't you let up, don't you let up. It was a fight.
And it was fun on the sideline,
No, it was not fun. I will not say it's fun at all. I have more gray hair today because of that game. But not only did we break the streak, but we learned to win a close game, which is one of the bigger struggles. We can win a game now, but not only can we win a game, but we can win a game where we're having our back against the wall. This could be it. Mm-hmm. And so it's a great momentum now.
Well, Bruce, you take a look at your schedule. You've got Tahlequah, Bishop Kelly coming up, both of them in the top 3. Claremore was in the top 10. My goodness, this is a tough schedule.
I believe this is the toughest district in state as far as 5A. I mean, Bishop McGuinness is the favorite as of right now, but if you remember the Bishop McGuinness Bishop Kelly game, great game, and Bishop Kelly has gotten better since then. So I think, in my opinion, our district is the one that should be the front runner for state. We got a couple of great teams in our district that have an opportunity to do a lot of damage in the playoffs, and we're competing against them all of a sudden. And the boys know they're competing against them all of a sudden. And I'm just waiting for that last little light to flicker, and we're going to start surprising people.
Well, your young kids that are playing, they will learn so much and will mature so much as a result of the pressure and the responsibility that you place on them. So I know that in the back of your mind, you are thinking about the future.
You have to. I mean, it is a year-to-year thing. We kind of you have to set up what you're going to have next year. We know we're graduating both of our quarterbacks this year. So our starter and our backup are both seniors this year. So we do kind of have to look at the future as far as what are we going to do next. But I think we have a great core of freshmen and sophomores that the future looks bright for us for the first time in a long time.
And you are getting great support from your administration.
I am. Coach Keim and Dr. Riley do anything for me. And it shows, and we're getting great support from alumni as well. I've received more phone calls and emails from them than I have a lot of people.
Well, Bruce, we want to wish you the very best of luck, and we're out of time. I could sit here and talk to you for hour or so because we are following you. Want to wish you the very best and look forward to having you back.
Thank you, sir.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. More coming up right after this.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard Shane Keim, who is the athletic director at Nathan Hale High School. And Shane, it's a pleasure having you aboard.
Oh, it's a pleasure being here.
You know, the first thing that comes to my mind, you are a graduate of Hale High School.
That's right.
You remember when Hale was one of the toughest athletic schools in the state of Oklahoma.
Yes.
And that's where you are trying to bring them again.
That's right. I've got a saying around there I like to impose on the kids. Is every time we do something well, I tell them, I say brick by brick. I said brick by brick. We're just laying a foundation. We're trying to build it back. And so we got a long way to go, but we've got a good start.
And you know, Shane, it looks like that you're developing a good staff. Talk about your staff.
Yeah, a lot of new faces, which sometimes is something that can kind of help reset a culture. And I got a new head football coach, Bruce Munden, who's really doing a great job with those guys. We have a new head basketball coach, Yancey Walker, who I think is gonna make a little bit of noise. And yeah, a lot of new coaches across the board. And it's really kind of helped get some momentum going forward.
Well, and trying to bring all of them back together again, what has been the most difficult part of getting them to once again be so proud to be a Hale Ranger?
I think what's happened over time is these student athletes, they've forgotten kind of what it means to be a Ranger. And that's what I try to remind them is, the qualities of being a Ranger. And so I try to instill that in them. It starts in the classroom, and take whatever you're doing positive in the classroom, staying out of trouble, keeping the grades up, everything, and then apply that to the field or court or whatever it may be.
And Shane, as you look at it sometimes, kids can kind of drift off.
Yes.
And it really takes the administration to bring them back. And what you are doing now as the director of athletics for Hale High School, and what you have done bringing the coaches in, and we had the head football coach on a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
What a great job he's doing. So it looks like you are really bringing them back to what you want them to be.
Well, that's the hope. Is the kids have to know what that means, know what that feels like, and so it's you kind of have to show them the way, but in the end, it's kind of up to them to take those steps. And so, yeah, we can have a great coaching staff, and I can be in there, dawn to dusk, but the kids have to take the steps. And really, that's where the culture is starting to change, is the kids are starting to believe in themselves, a way they haven't in a long time.
And you feel confident now that you've started this rebuilding. The coaches are behind you 100%. And I know in visiting with the football coach, he really is excited about it, that I can see where you guys may be working 12 hours a day and not realize it.
Yeah, well, some of those days they get long. I like to joke that I came home at about 5 o'clock one night, and my wife asked who I was. You know, so it's one of those things where you put the time in now in building this foundation, and the metaphor I always use with them is a watch. We're building the watch, and it takes a long time to build a nice watch. And piece by piece, we're kind of putting it in there. Eventually, that thing's just going to tick on its own. And occasionally, we'll have to wind it, but that's it. It'll still just keep on ticking. Mm-hmm. We don't have to reset and completely rebuild a new watch every year.
Well, when you take a look across the board, is this expanding from football down to other sports? Now, in basketball, it didn't get as far away as football did.
Yeah, it is. This is Oklahoma. You know, whether we want to admit it or not, football is the heart of most of these athletic departments. And as your football program goes, so does kind of everybody else. And with a 47-game losing streak, you know, that kind of matriculates itself into everywhere else.
But you broke it.
But we broke it, so it's done. It's over. And, you know, that enthusiasm, you can see it in other sports. You know, our numbers are up across the board in every sport. And I think kids are, again, genuinely excited about being part of that change.
And, you know, in doing that, it doesn't happen overnight.
Absolutely not.
I mean, you gradually, and sometimes it may take 3 or 4 years. And then as those young kids come up, and we were talking about this with Bruce Munden, your head football coach, that when those kids come up there, then they want to win.
Right. You know, you have to kind of, again, you have to kind of show them the light a little bit. And I think, and again, I'm trying to have a long view of this, but I think 5 years from now, we're going to be talking about Hale in a completely different light than we have been. It's not going to be, hey, you're trying to build a culture. It's going to be, wow, you guys across the board are competing in a way you haven't since, you know, the heyday of the late 70s and early 80s, you know.
Shane, it's been a pleasure having you aboard here on Inside Tulsa Athletics, and continue the success as the athletic director of Hale High School, and I imagine we'll have you back soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. More coming up right after this.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework. I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's
I'm
just
trying
gotta
as
try a
hard
little
as
harder.
I can.
1 in 5 children struggle with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to understood.org.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we bring aboard the Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, Gil Cloud. And Gil, when we take a look at what's happening in athletics now, all of the different eligibility problems, you have a hard job.
Well, there's a lot of things to have to consider when you look at a student athlete and their eligibility. Some of the things that we have to deal with the OSSA member schools. The number one thing I think that's out there right now is the transfer rule. The transfer rule changed about 2 years ago, where an 8th grader can make a decision in the state of Oklahoma to go to any 9th grade that will accept them in the state of Oklahoma. So in other words, I could live in Idabel, and if I wanted to go to Miami the next year and not move, not make a bona fide move, which was the case always before that, then I could be immediately eligible if Miami was taking transfers.
You know, that's what gets me in the fact that it seemed like in past that every kid was so dedicated to his school that he wouldn't think about enrolling somewhere else or going someplace else.
JV, I think one of the things that's changed the most that I was thinking the last 10 years in high school athletics is that a lot of folks are looking for an advantage individually, not necessarily about what is good for the team, but what's good for me. I have a saying that people sometimes have their eyes too close together. It's I and me instead of us and we. And I think a lot of that is promoted by that. A lot of it's promoted. I heard a phrase yesterday, you can't be seen in 4A, you have to be in 6A to be seen. Well, I can assure you, having coached at the collegiate level, at two different levels, and being an administrator at another level in the NCAA, if you're a player, they know where you are. The coaches know where you are.
And it makes no difference what size school.
It doesn't make any difference whatsoever. You know, they're going to find the players. So that's kind of one of those old wives' tales, you know, that you got to play on big stage and all that business. The other issues that we deal with, obviously, deal with custody. There are a lot of custody situations. You know, there are a lot of single-parent families out there, and it makes it tough, you know, when the student athlete has to make a decision. Do they go with mom or dad? And, you know, when do you establish that primary residence? And what is the secondary residence? And another issue that will be addressed this year will be the dual housing. You know, you used to be, you had your house and that was your house. And if you had a second home, you wouldn't be eligible in that second home, no matter where that is. What has happened is that we have a lot of houses that stay on the market for a long period of time, and the family goes ahead and moves. Well, by the old rule, this was their primary residence, even though they moved over here. And so what the association has done now was, if it's a transitional move into that second house, and if you haven't sold this house yet, the student athlete can be immediately eligible for sub-varsity, in other words, JV, junior high athletics, to give the kid the opportunity to continue to compete. Before, you couldn't compete at all. So that gives the student athlete, I think some of the rules that we have put in place are student athlete friendly, I think, which is important because that's why we're here, is for the student athletes. So the dual residency is another one that is on the books now, first year, and it has been one that we deal with a lot in a metropolitan area because you have a lot more transient students. They come from one school to the next school and so on, and we have to deal with that a lot. We do probably 10 to 15 walkthroughs of houses or apartments every year to determine whether or not it's a bona fide move. Have you got everything out of this location? Is everything in the new location, just to verify that the student athlete is eligible. Academic eligibility, obviously, you know, went into effect 15, 20 years, 30 years ago, where you have to pass every class every week. If you don't pass it in the first time that we check grades, which is the third week of the semester, because you got to have some cumulative grades to be able to evaluate the student. At that point, you're on probation if you're not passing every class. The next week, we check eligibility again, and if you're not passing every class then you're ineligible for a week. And you will remain ineligible until you're passing every class every week. And people ask the question, well, if I've got an F in algebra this week, but I get my F up, but I got an F in English next week, well, you didn't pass every class every week, so it doesn't make any difference. Individual or different classes, you have to stay eligible. And our directors do a good job of doing that. We check eligibility every Friday afternoon for the next week, and our week runs Sunday through Saturday. And so the student athlete will be eligible or ineligible or on probation once that eligibility list comes out. We ensure that the directors make sure that every member of the faculty has a copy of that, so we make sure that we've gotten everybody on the list that needs to be on there. And because the academic integrity of the school is most important to us.
Yeah, we need to take a break and then come back, and I want to visit with you about two articles that Garrett and Amy wrote for the Tulsa World that I think has a great impact on high school athletics. Stay with us. We're right back with Gil Cloud right after this.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
We continue inside Tulsa Athletics with Gil Cloud, Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools. And Gil, we mentioned just a minute ago of what Garrett had written, Beyond Friday Night Lights in the Tulsa World. Two tremendous articles that everybody should read.
I tell you, Gary came by this summer when he was moving back to Tulsa after having been gone for 17 or 18 years. He was one of our student athletes at Booker T, played soccer at Booker T, and he said, I just want to do something positive for TPS athletics, and so he told me that he was going to do a story maybe once a month on one of our coaches or one of our schools or something, but he didn't tell me about the series that he did last Thursday and Friday, and I was pleasantly surprised that it was in the newspaper. I wasn't surprised at the demeanor and the acumen of our coaches. There's no question. I feel like the 9 football coaches that we have, that story depicted them very, very relevantly to the way they deal every day with our student athletes. There's no question that they all have them at the front and foremost of why they're there. Football obviously is important. Winning football games is important. It's very important. There's no question. We wouldn't have scoreboards if we didn't keep score. We want to know who wins and loses. However, if we win or lose a kid, that's what's more important to us. And we want to try to win every kid every day. We want to keep them in school. We had a meeting this morning where we talked about we want to track our retention, our graduation rate, our GPA of our student athletes. But the other thing we want to talk about is, as far as gathering some data, is we want to talk about the retention of coaches and how long our coaches stay in the system and why, and the longevity of our assistant coaches and the continuity that gives to the programs and the student athletes they come in contact with. So what Garrett did, I think, was obviously something that he really, really wanted to do. I can't tell you how pleased we were to see our folks really get some accolades that most of them throughout the year will not get and don't look for. They're doing this job because they want to. And kind of like you and I have talked.
Yes.
I'm doing this job because I want to. And I think they're there every day for those kids, and I hope that our office is there every day for our staff and for those kids because we need all the help we can to keep our kids engaged and keep them in school moving forward academically.
Well, it seems to me like that the football coaches in the Tulsa Public School right now, they are truly interested in what happens with their kids. And they go beyond what I would assume as coaching. They help them in personal life. They help them in economic problems that they might have. In other words, they almost turn into a parent to a lot of them.
JV, the very first year I coached was 1969. And I will never, ever forget that when I was there in Sedan, Kansas, and my football players, my 45 or so football players, it was a Class A school, asked me, said that my wife was pregnant with our daughter, and we didn't know it was a daughter back then. And he said, well, my captain of the football team came to me one day and said, well, what if it's not a boy? And I said, well, my gosh, I've got 45 boys already. That's how I've always looked at it. These are a part of my family. These are our kids. And I think that's, when you treat it that way, I think it's good. When I've looked to be able to recommend employment of coaches, one of the litmus tests for me is, do I want my son or daughter to play for that coach? If I give my son or daughter to him, I expect your son or daughter is going to be okay with them. And I think that's always been one of the things when I analyze and look and see how that person answers the questions, how their body language is in the chair. Do I want my son or daughter to be involved with this person? And so I think we have football coaches, I think, that are in that vein, that they look for those kids to try to help them somewhere outside of the stripes, and somewhere when they're going down the hall and they're sitting in the dressing room and they're dejected and depressed about things that have occurred in their life. They need to have somebody to come and talk to.
Well, as I look at the coaches, and we have about a minute left, that we have here in the Tulsa Public Schools, I feel that they have that parental feeling for their kids, and the fact that they do want to see them do the right thing, and they want to help them do the right thing, and that's not an easy job to do.
It's not. It's not. When you're a football coach and you have 70 or 80 kids, every day, you won't have that relationship. One of the things I always did when I was a high school football coach was that we go out in the dressing room after practice and talk to that kid about algebra and their girlfriend and their families. It's not all about football.
No.
It's about raising that child.
We've run out of time. Wish we had more time to be able to talk, but we've got to go.
You bet.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. More coming up right after this.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education? What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job?
Be like everybody else.
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher.
You got the skills.
The smarts?
Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess?
What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me? I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Thanks for being with us today on Inside Tulsa Athletics, and we certainly want to encourage you to get out and support the athletic programs of the Tulsa Public Schools. That is both boys and girls athletics, because they need your support, and we encourage you to do so. And of course, on Inside Tulsa Athletics, we'll be back with you again in 2 weeks.